to college in the late 90s. I grew up in a household that had recycled. Recycling programs weren't as extensive as they are today, but we did the best that we could. So I was happy to see that there was a recycling program in my college dormitory. I used to walk down the hallway, make a left into this little entryway where there was a garbage can, and then had to take a couple extra steps, make a right around the corner into the TV room, where there were recycling bins along the floor there. I often thought, I have to make an extra effort to do the right thing. On one particular day, I stood between that garbage can and those recycling bins, having a debate. Does it really matter? I then thought, well, what if 1 million other people were having this exact same debate at the exact same time? And all million of us chose to throw that can into the recycling bin. That's 1 million cans. It's quite a difference. It made me see that my actions matter, that all of our actions matter, and they matter because they add up. Fast forward to years later, sitting across a small table from a friend of mine who was emphatically declaring that world peace is not possible. It's not going to happen. I replied, that very well might be so, but not on account of me not doing my part. I'm not going to give up. I'm going to continue to do my part. We do our part because we know our actions matter. They matter because they add up, and it's not going to be easy because it takes making an extra effort to do the right thing. When I speak about relationship, I mean a relationship between ourselves and anything else. When we hear the word relationship, we often think of an intimate relationship between two people. So let's begin there. If we want a healthy, intimate relationship, one that is happy, loving, kind, compassionate, full of respect, understanding, patience, etc., then we need two individuals to be embodying these qualities and characteristics. Meaning, if we want a more loving, kind, and compassionate relationship, then we need two people to be more loving, kind, and compassionate. Now, this same concept will apply to every relationship. If we want a more loving, kind, and compassionate family, then the members of the family each individually have to strive to be more loving, kind, and compassionate. For a community, the workplace, a city, state, country, continent, entire world. If we want a more loving, kind, and compassionate world, then all of its people have to be striving toward being more loving, kind, and compassionate. When we advocate for those that are oppressed, the less fortunate, the most vulnerable in our societies, there's a misconception that we have to be angry to care. I contend that anger, as I know it, arises out of being self-centered. Meaning that there's a way that we want the world to be, and the world isn't that way, and that makes us angry. Now this happens throughout our day with insignificant things, but can easily be applied to these same social issues. Because we start defending our beliefs, our opinions. We're not really defending other people, we're defending ourselves. Its opposite, being more loving, kind, and compassionate, we actually care about people. We don't have anything invested in the argument personally, because it's not about us. And then anger doesn't arise. We can see the issue clearly, And without an agitated mind, we can look to solutions more clearly, we become more effective, and we unite people, not divide them. The way I see it in this world, there's a lack of care for other people. The solution to that problem isn't to make people angrier. The solution is to encourage and inspire people to care. So, if I want a more caring world, I don't see adding more anger to it as the solution. The only solution is to inspire more people to care about one another, to be more loving, kind, and compassionate. Now, sometimes these issues need legislation. And in order for there to be legislation, there needs to be a legislator. So, let's just think for a moment that there's an individual out there who's done this work, who has a boundless heart, who's more loving, kind, and compassionate. And when they see it, the world, when they look out at the world, they see the problems, they see the injustice, they see the inequality, and they want to do something about it. So they're not pursuing this position of power for themselves. They're not doing it for name or fame. They're not doing it for their own family. They're not doing it for their community of friends, their business associates. They're not doing it for their race, their ethnicity, their religion, their sexual orientation, etc. They're doing it because it's what needs to be done, because they genuinely care about the well-being of all people. For this message to get out, what we would need is a media who values this message. Meaning that the members of the media too would have to be doing this work of being loving, kind, and compassionate so that the message could resonate with their heart. And then once the message is out there, it would have to fall upon good ears. Meaning that the populace has also been attuned to this notion that life is really about being loving, kind, and compassionate, and caring about others. Of course, one legislator can't do all the work. Lobbyists and other legislators too would have to start to value being more loving, kind, and compassionate in the world that leads to. It's not very realistic. I would say it's possible, not probable. Unless, of course, this message was to fall on 16 billion ears. And each person would take the time to consider the truth in this message. That it takes all of us, not just some of us. It takes all of us. And for them to consider that it's important for me to do my part. That my actions matter. They matter because they add up. And it's not going to be easy because it takes making an extra effort to do the right thing. That's when we'll see the world change.